Guys, can you guys hear me or do you need this?
Yeah.
All right, okay. Hi guys, my name's Amish Tripathi. I'm director of the Nehru Center. Welcome to our home, and we are delighted and honored to be hosting this play in the gate. The British Raj was very difficult for India, to put it politely. India was among the richest lands on earth when the British came. By the time they left in 1947, we were among the poorest. Millions of Indians died in famines. The last was in 1942, where nearly 3 to 4 million Indians died in a famine. Now, this is, of course, a series of disasters that happened, which Indians are speaking of honestly now. And it would not be wise to airbrush the crimes that happened during the Raj. Having said that, as an Indian, I would say to swing to the other extreme, where we see all British as liable, as criminal in the crimes of the British Raj, would be wrong as well. That would not be the way that our Indian ancestors would have expected us to approach truth. And therefore, I like the way this play approaches the story of the Raj. Sardar Udham Singh, who is one of our greatest freedom fighters, his story is being showcased here. But what is also being showcased is the Lutyens family. As I'm sure all of you are aware, Mr. Lutyens was the designer of our capital city, what is also called Lutyens Delhi, but his family worked to support Indian independence in many ways, and that is being shown out here as well. So we must, of course, speak the truth of what happened, of the crimes that happened, and of how much India suffered, but we must speak that truth in a calm, reasoned manner, without hatred and without seeing all British as liable for it. We can criticize those who did do wrong, but we must also acknowledge those like the Lutyens family who worked to support Indian independence. With that, I'm going to end my short speech and then hand it over to Howard, but I'll just leave a few short housekeeping rules. There is this is not just going to be a theatre production out here. We are live streaming it as well. And there are no hanging mics out here. There's a mic out here. So the request to the people on the first 3-4 rows, don't whisper among yourselves. It might get recorded here and broadcast all over the world. It will not be a private conversation anymore. Secondly, there is a camera which will probably go around at the end. All of you have been given our flags. The Indian Independence Day is coming up. We'd be delighted if we can take photographs at the end with all of you holding our flag and celebrating India. Thank you. That's it from me.
I'd just like to say a very big thank you for our invitation to come here tonight. The Questors Theatre has been working with the Punjabi Theatre Academy from Southall and my colleague Tajinder Sindra here, and it's been a wonderful journey of cooperation. As you know, London Borough of Ealing has a large Indian community, and it was really important. Tajinder and I got together and we felt that it would be wonderful if one theatre company that was mainly white British got together with an Indian theatre company based in Southall, and that we wrote something. So I got starting and wrote this play, and we cast it from both our companies, and what a wonderful place to end up performing it just days away from Indian independence. I quite agree what you said. The history of the British in India has been a very troubled one. And one of my friends said to me, "You're not rewriting history, are you, Howard?" And I said, "No, I'm actually discovering the truth about the history. And I'm trying to peel the layers away so that people can understand it, and that we can all understand our shared heritage." So I really do hope you enjoy this play. I've one little warning for you. There is a gunshot. It's not a live gunshot, so don't panic, but it comes as a sound recording. but don't jump out of your seats. Okay. I am operating the sound for this evening's performance, so you'll just have to excuse me for 2 seconds while I run all the way around to the back, and then we can get the show started. Thank you very much indeed.
Welcome to the Neuro Centre and to this performance of Indigo. May we remind you to check that your mobile phones and electronic devices are completely switched off, and that audio, video and photographic recording of the performance is not permitted. Thank you and enjoy the show.
Help someone! Help me find the wounded and the dying! Help me! Help me!
Gautam, are you okay? I'm here, it's all over. You're safe.
I know. It's that dream. The same dream again. Reliving every moment of the massacre at Jallianwala Bagh.
Nightmares take a long while to go away.
It's not a nightmare, Chanu. It's real. It's an actual memory. And we can't erase a memory.
I know it was real, but you are still in shock. We all are.
Yes, I'm still in shock. But anger is my strongest emotion now, Chanu. How many thousands of men, women and children were shot? People came to Amritsar to protest forced conscription and heavy war taxes. How many defenseless people were mowed down by British rifles? And they got away with it. The high priest at our own Sikh temple even invited Sir Michael O'Dwyer to lunch the next day. That traitor was more interested in himself than the suffering of our own people. We're all cowards! Cowards!
Calm down, Udham, calm down. You are only making things worse for yourself. We cannot move forward if we are filled with hate.
No. If we stop hating, they will forget. Chalo, that night when I saw all the bodies and the blood and the suffering, I made an oath that I would seek revenge on the man behind it all. We may choose to live with our suppressors, but I can't live with our murderers.
Some of the soldiers who fired were Indian like ourselves. Do you hate them as well?
May God forgive them. They're victims too. Taught to be grateful for serving king and empire. They were pawns. Stupid pawns.
Udham, this bitterness is killing you.
Yes, it is, I know. So I need to move on. I need to turn my bitterness into action. So no, after the massacre, when I was taking the wounded to the hospital, I made a promise that I would hunt down O'Dwyer and kill him. I've been afraid for too long, Chanu. I need to take action, even if I have to go to England to find him.
Be careful, Udham. Murdering a British governor of Punjab will only make things worse for the whole community.
It would send an important message that you can't abuse our people and get away with it. I don't care how long it takes or where I have to go. This is the calling I have. We have suffered for too long.
हिंद वासियों रखना याद सानू किते दिलां चों ना भुला जाना आदर वतन दी लगे हाँ चढ़न फांसी सानू वेख के ना घबरा जाना साडी मौत ने वतन दे वासियां दे दिली वतन दा इश्क जगा जाना हिंद वासियों चमकना चंद वांगू किते बदला हेठ ना आ जाना हिंद वासियों रखना याद सानू किते दिलां चों ना भुला जाना
So you see, Mr. Singh, the scaffolding can go up on the west side of the arch. The facing stones are all commissioned, and we can start work on the new core.
Of course, Sir Edwin. Are you happy with the look of the structure at this stage?
Why wouldn't I be? I designed it. But I do need to see if I was right about the colour of the facing stones. There needs to be a certain warmth about it, especially in the evening sun.
That is right, Sir Edwin. A concept we have followed here in India for many years. Trust me, you have chosen the right stone.
Oh, thank you, thank you. But you do need to be aware, Mr. Singh, that my stones are clay. Overblown decorative features do not mar their basic beauty.
By implication, you mean Indian architecture is overblown and full of unnecessary decorative features?
I'm afraid so. In my work, the lines are cleaner. We are commemorating the fallen in a new capital city, not building temples and mosques.
Well, there are obviously going to be cultural differences in the way we remember the fallen, as you British do. And I do respect your approach as an outsider, Sir Edwin. Can I humbly ask if you understand the approach we Indians take to remembering the dead?
Which Indian culture are you talking about, Mr. Singh? The only harmony I see is disharmony. Is it not true that Hindus, Muslims, and Sikhs each have their own traditions?
Indeed, Sir Edwin, it's just that the Indian references here seem to be limited to Mughal ones, when the majority of fallen soldiers fighting for the British were Sikhs.
Well, what would you have me do, Mr. Singh? Cover the stones in gold and statues? Do you think I don't care about honouring these soldiers?
All good architects care, Sir Edwin, and there's no denying it shows in your work. I really meant no offence. What is this, if I may ask?
Oh, this is something I'm working upon in France. It's another war memorial in Thiepval, northern France.
3 arches, a large central span, and one at each side. I presume the smaller ones help take the weight.
Oh, they are load-bearing, yes, not just decorative.
Rather like flying buttresses in Gothic cathedrals, I suppose.
Oh, yes, exactly.
A European reference on the Mughal one here, Sir Edwin.
Oh, touche, Mr. Singh. Who taught you about Gothic cathedrals and flying buttresses?
I read and study, Sir Edwin. Our training was not confined to just golden statues. Getting to grips with another culture always helps in better understanding your own. Wouldn't you agree? Tell me about the foundations for these arches. It must have been difficult working at the required depth for each one.
Need they be different, Mr. Singh?
I would never be as presumptuous enough as to advise you, Sir Edwin. But the formula for weight, pressure, and depth is an important one, surely.
Well, there are formulas for all important things in architecture, Mr. Singh, and in life, I suppose. I'm going to like you. I think we shall work together well in future.
I hope so. Both of us serving the king in our own way. तू होगा ते घोड़ा, पर मैं भी पंजाबी हां. ओए फॉर्मूला तां देसी चलेगा मेरा. ओए जिन्ना मर्जी हिसाब किताब ला हां.
Ram Singh, are you swearing in Punjabi?
No, Sir Edwin. Actually, I was praising your hard work. और सारे घोड़े दे मुड़े पंजाबी भी नहीं बोल सकता है.
Ram Singh, look, I would like to learn Punjabi now so that I can keep an eye on you.
Then yes, Sir Edwin. I will teach you. It will be my pleasure.
Indeed. So, you will arrange for the scaffolding to be erected?
Certainly, Sir Edwin. Will I see you here tomorrow?
As long as the Viceroy doesn't keep me in interminable meetings, yes.
Ah, British bureaucracy. And I thought we Indians were bad enough, eh?
Oh, I think you got it from us. I see, Mr. Singh, that you are not just an engineer. I think you have the mind of a diplomat. I think we can make use of that skill in future if there's any future opposition to my work.
Well, that depends where that opposition comes from, Sir Edwin. But I will always be by your right hand. Call me a flying buttress to your Gothic knave, if you like.
My dearest Emily, it must be several days since I last wrote to you. The heat here in Delhi is now insufferable, so I retreat to the club and try to avoid visiting the actual construction site. I have a new Sikh engineer working with me named Ram Singh, an extraordinary fellow who understands medieval Gothic architecture. I like him, and I find myself ignoring my usual distrust of Indian professionals. Although I love you, your
letters frighten me sometimes. The aloofness. Oh, Emily, darling, I do so rely on your moral courage and your thoughtfulness. When I see your darling face in my mind's eye, I have no fear. I never cease to wonder how busy you are. Every other day there is a theosophy meeting here and another there, or talk of a new tour with Jiddu Krishnamurti. The physical distance between us is bad enough, but I cannot help wondering if all your other interests are keeping us apart. I do so long to see you, my darling.
In this regard, the Viceroy has cordially invited you to come to India next year for the opening of the War Memorial. I know it would be an endless round of formal events, but I would so love to have you by my side. You will come, won't you? My special love is always to the children, who thankfully do write from time to time. I need you to embrace them for me. Your ever-loving Edwin.
My dear Edwin, do not apologize for not writing for a few days. Often your letters arrive together, depending upon when a ship sails from Bombay. I always love to hear your news. I am heartened that you have made a good relationship with your Sikh engineer, Ram Singh. Do take time to learn about his culture, Edwin. It will pay dividends.
Yes, my darling. In some ways it is true that I am aloof in thought, but then so are you. You are just as far away in your thoughts when you are absorbed in buildings as I am with theosophy and supporting Jiddu. I want to say that I know I am a rotten wife and do not give you much comfort or happiness. So if at any time you feel it would make you happier to bring another woman into your life, I shall never reproach you or feel you have wronged me. I will come to India next year, Edwin. It would be good to see each other, and I want to support you in your work. However, remember that when I go to India, I go as a theosophist. When I arrive in Bombay, I do not want to be met by the governor's launch, because I know I shall be met by kindly Indian faces who will greet me as one of themselves. You go to India, Edwin, and mix only with the official class, and always look at Indians from a long way off, whereas I have a password to their hearts.
I am pleased that the children take time to write. They love you, Edwin, and are proud of your work. I hope they say so in their letters. Yours affectionately, Emily.
Do we look like owls that she ran away?
Of course not, mother. At least we are from the Maharaja Patiala background after all. She's just a bit nervous to be meeting first-time royal family members from Punjab.
Yes, you're absolutely right, brother.
Hey.
You're not Soran is such a girl, dear.
Excuse me, madam. There are two Indian gentlemen waiting for you in the hallway. It says they have an appointment to see you.
That's right, Sarah. I'm expecting them. Please, show them up.
Oh, but madam, they're a little fierce looking. They're not at all like that nice Mr. Jiddu Krishnamurti, your friend who used to come here in his lovely suits and his silk shirts and, begging your pardon, Mum, I was a little afraid of these two.
They are Sikh gentlemen, Sarah. They do not dress like Europeans. Would you be frightened of a Scotsman in a kilt and a beard just because he looked different?
Oh, I wouldn't know, my lady. I've never been to Scotland. Oh, begging your pardon, Mum, I'll show them in.
Please.
You can come in now.
We understand English.
Gentlemen, you are most welcome. Mr. Ajit Singh and Mr. Sandeep Sindra, I presume. Please take a seat. Sarah, some tea, please.
Oh, yes, madam. The China or the Indian tea, madam?
The Indian, Sarah, to honour our guests.
Oh, yes, madam. Right away, madam.
Gentlemen, please make yourselves comfortable.
Lady Lutyens, may I stand as the colder English weather plays havoc with my rheumatism? And once seated, I will never get up.
Oh, of course. The more I travel, the more I appreciate our British climate, but understand its limitations. I too do not like the damper weather. At least the monsoon season in India is warmer than here in London.
Ah, you are quite the modern traveller, Lady Lutyens. I believe you have been all over the world with my countryman, Mr. Jiddu Krishnamurti. You've certainly been a strong advocate for him as a religious and philosophical teacher.
Indeed so, Mr. Singh. He is a theosophist like myself. His teachings have a strong resonance with my understanding of the world.
Alas, I am but a humble Sikh who knows very little about theosophy. But we greatly respect all spiritual creeds, Lady Lutyens.
I think you understand a good deal more about many things, Mr. Singh. Otherwise you would not be here. Ah, Sarah, thank you.
Ajit, ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਕੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ? ਇਹ ਲੈਂਦੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਲਈ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਮਦਦ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਨ? ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ ਰਹੀ।
Gusa Shadu! Chadu Gutapiyu. This woman, as you say, understands a good deal more than you think. To take your question directly, Mr. Bra, despite being the daughter of a Viceroy of India, I see Home Rule as something desirable. An Indian government is perfectly possible, and there are many good men capable of running one. You will understand that because of my position, I have to be discreet about my support, but I am on your side.
Of course, I apologize, Lady Lutyens. I have a tendency to feel that we are underestimated by the British, and of course, I am guilty of doing the same to you. You see, even back in Delhi, it is not easy for us to have a sensible debate.
Oh, I understand that sensible debate is not always possible. I have some contacts in the House of Lords whom I would like you to meet. One of them is close to the Foreign Secretary, who might be persuaded to give you an audience.
Thank you, Lady Lutyens. That would be a welcome first step. Now, is your husband currently in London or still in Delhi?
Oh, in Delhi. His work as an architect seems to take him everywhere. He is currently working on the All India War Memorial, which I believe celebrates the many fine Indian soldiers who fought for the British Army.
Yes, it does, Lady Lutyens, with the majority of those soldiers from a Sikh heritage like myself. Is your husband happy with the progress on this project?
It would seem so.
Does he know of your support for Indian home rule?
Possibly. But it must never become a distraction from his work. I hope you understand.
We Sikhs are known for our discretion, Lady Lutyens.
Oh, and I thought you were known for your reputation as fierce warriors. But then I suppose the two are not incompatible. Are you here in London with your family, Mr. Bra?
No, my wife and children are back home in Punjab, Lady Lutyens.
A little too expensive for us all to travel.
Of course. I should have realized. Well, I am sorry to end our first meeting so abruptly, but I have another engagement. I have a small discussion group on Thursday evening, to which you would be welcome to join us.
Thank you, Lady Lutyens. Until Thursday evening, then?
Indeed so. Thursday at 7:30.
Sat Sri Akal.
Sat Sri Akal.
Go. Sat Sri Akal!
There is nothing to be frightened of, Sarah. They were teasing you.
Oh, my lady, why would you want to help those men? Forgive me, palpitations!
Because my father was not a good viceroy during his time in India, and I feel obliged to make up for some of the wrongs he did. I have influence, combined with a determination to use it.
Yes, Mum, of course, Mum. I'll just clear away the tea things then.
Indeed. You'd better get used to Indian gentlemen of all kinds, Sarah. We may be going to Delhi next year.
Oh, my lord! I mean, yes, my lady. Oh, whatever will become of me?
Oh, नहीं यार नहीं, मेरे कमर दे दर्द ने था मेरी जान लेके छिपना। यार जो इंग्लैंड का मौसम है ना, अब मैंने इंडिया भेज के सुख दा साल लेगा। I tell you, my back pain will kill me one day, and this English weather will only be satisfied when I'm back home in India.
Well, it was your dream to earn pounds in England and send money back to India. ते तेरा ही सपना सी एंड ना के कौन के मोंदा ते पीछे भेजंदा. What was the point of seeing Lady Lutyens, the daughter of a viceroy?
ओए मैंने लगदा सानू ना इंग्लिश विच गल करनी चाहिए आ नहीं तो लोग समझणगे ਅਸੀਂ ना मुल्क खा गए इंडिया तो देख साडे वाल किद्दां वेख रहे ने. I think we should speak in English, otherwise people will think we are fools from India. See how they look at us? It was worth seeing her. She's well connected. You have to understand the way the British work. Power, influence, a recommendation here, a nod towards a friend. That is how we build our case, as well as campaigning back in Delhi. Both political fields must be ploughed and seeds planted.
Gentle persuasion. That is all you ever talk about. I think the British only ever respond to direct action. Anyway, you may be right. Who is this friend from the House of Lords she mentioned?
I don't know for sure, but there are sympathetic people there. You forget how many of the British aristocracy have spent time in India. There are some who reached out and understood our culture, even though most of them hated us.
So what? We speak to this lord and all is well.
No. With the right people behind us, we can hold our first public meeting and invite coverage from the press. With some luck, that will be reported back in India and it will make our case stronger. Your brother, fought for the British in France during the Great War, did he not?
Yes, and he never returned home. Buried somewhere in a grave in Flanders. ਉੱਥੇ ਕਰ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਇਆ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਉਹ ਕਿਤੇ ਫਲੈਂਡਰਸ ਦੀ ਕਬਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੁੱਤਾ ਪਿਆ ਹੈ We could never bury him properly and give him the proper funeral rites. Still hurts, Ajit.
I know.
I know everyone was buried in the same place, but we were never invited over after the war to hold proper funeral rites.
I know.
Too far, too difficult, too expensive. But never a problem to get us to fight there in the first place.
I know! That is why we have to continue with our work for the sake of all those who died serving the British. What better legacy could there be than home rule for their surviving families?
Full independence from the court era. I'm telling the truth.
Independence will come in our lifetime if we play our cards right. It is inevitable, but we have to be patient. There are some British people with us, but we have to work with what we've got. Ooh, I think this is our stop. Wait. I hope there's some decent food tonight.
Hey.
I've never understood what these English people eat. What is this toad in the hole and humble pie?
Fish and chips is good, yeah. But what I really want, is a proper curry.
Curry? It will never catch on in this country.
It is cooler out here on the veranda. Sun is on the other side of the building. Sometimes it gets a little stifling indoors. I will get straight to the point, Dr. Cornish. I do not understand why you keep asking me about the famine. My views are quite straightforward. Although loss of life is unfortunate, it is nature taking its course. Survival of the fittest, if you like. There have been famines in India before, and the stronger people survived. Call it natural selection, if you want.
But Lord Lytton, sir, there is increasing unrest about the amount of food and grain we are sending back to Britain. Some Indian leaders say we could be doing much more to help.
Well, that is to be expected. As Viceroy of India, I answer to Her Majesty Queen Victoria, not to them. Just keep me appraised of the situation. We need to remain calm and do what is right and what is affordable. Remind me who this is.
This is Dr. Patel, sir, my assistant on famine relief.
Can't manage things on your own then, Cornish?
Shall we move on, sir? I was sorry to hear that your daughter, Emily, had been unwell. Your wife, Lady Lytton, asked us to examine her. It is a mild case of dysentery, but still worrying in a small child.
Us? Why was an Indian doctor allowed near my daughter?
Dr. Patel is an expert on childhood dysentery, Lord Lytton. Your wife found him most helpful.
I see. This is a godforsaken place for young children. So, Cornish, I gather you have been making noises about Sir Thomas Temple's famine relief.
With respect, Lord Lytton, it is my duty to point out to you that the current famine relief rations are not enough to prevent people from dying. Millions have died, and those numbers will increase, along with the inevitable political unrest.
There is always political unrest. I do not welcome deaths in such large numbers, but it is nature taking its course. We cannot continue spending money on famine relief to the same extent as we have in the past. It solves nothing.
There is plenty of food, sir. If we stopped exporting just a small percentage of what we're sending back to Britain, the problem could be remedied and thousands of lives saved.
I am very familiar with that argument, Cornish, but did not expect to hear it from you, an Englishman. My duty lies with sending food items home. That, amongst other things, is what empire is for.
If I may speak, Viceroy, loyalty to Her Majesty is paramount. But why does that have to lead to mass starvation? Famine does not encourage loyalty to the crown, and we take risks if it is ignored.
Is that a threat, Dr. Patel? Can I remind you that earlier this year, Queen Victoria was appointed Empress of India? You should all be thankful for that honour.
I am, Lord Lytton. But as Empress, Her Majesty may worry about the health and welfare of her people.
That is my role on her behalf, Dr. Patel, and I am not unduly worried.
Loss of life on such a massive scale will eventually have economic consequences. I know you are a believer in social Darwinism, but that is not always compatible with good business. If you wish to continue sending food home, you will need farmers and labourers to work the land. There is a serious danger of that not happening.
Sir, there are farmers too weak to carry on. Even as far away as parts of the Punjab, crops have not been planted for next year. And there may come a time when there is nothing to export.
Yes, that could turn out to be a problem. So what is needed in terms of extra support for famine relief?
Temple is distributing 1 pound of rice or grain per day for a labourer, less for women and children. I believe that 1.5 pounds with supplementary vegetables is the necessary scientific minimum to preserve life and to enable work.
I shall give this some consideration, but promise nothing.
Thank you, Lord Lytton. I have prepared a paper which explains the science behind my findings. We won't take up any more of your valuable time. Thank you for giving us an audience.
My secretary will show you out if you go back inside. That includes you, Dr. Patel.
Oh, thank you, sir.
You may leave through the front of the house.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oi, Ram!
Oh, teacher, I am.
Good to see you, cousin. Good to see you, cousin.
Oh, in India, you are my brother, Ajit. Welcome home. Good to see you again, huh?
Okay, Ram. Wait, how's life working with Sir Edwin turned you into an Englishman? Huh?
Oh, do I look like Englishman, huh? You've gone thinner, Ajit. Didn't London agree with you or something?
The cold and the damp certainly did not. And as for their food, you will not believe what they eat. It is dull, 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 just like their weather.
I've seen some of the food in those British clubs.
Ah, you get invited to those places, eh? You certainly have come up in the world. Or are you just more of a lackey?
Well, sometimes work takes me there, Ajit. I'm no more of a lackey than you are in London. Occasionally, I'm welcome. But more often than not, I'm patronising my own country. And what about you, in London? Being entertained by Lady Lutyens and meeting lords? Why, you must have felt like Punjabi royalty.
Nay, Ram, nay. I too felt patronised like you have been. But the difference is, at least I'm trying to progress things politically. All you do is build monuments. Huh?
Oh, you want to prize me for coming to London? I've not been here sitting on my hands, you know. And you know, struggle. The All India War Memorial is a significant step forward, Ajit. We both have family commemoration on it. Political identity can happen through buildings as well.
Yes, you're right.
And don't forget Chanu. While you've been away, she's been working tirelessly with the women's branch of the Congress Party. I'm very proud of my puppy, my sister-in-law.
I know. I am proud of what you've both been doing. Delhi looks good now. It is a capital worthy of our country. And when we get it back from the British, it will make a fine place for government. What is this Sir Edwin Lutyens like? Does he sport a bid for home rule?
You know, probably not, brother. He's an architect first and foremost, and a good one. As for politics, he follows the views of his own people. He likes me and respects our Sikh culture and traditions, so there's that.
There's nothing Sikh looking about this war memorial. Huh?
Yes, you're right. But I've actually grown to like the simplicity. In many ways, it's very powerful, Ajit. I hope you will also learn to love it. And how did you find working with his wife, Lady Emily?
Yeah, she was a strange woman, but quite remarkable. She generally sports our bid for home rule. She did a lot for us. She was a true friend.
Oh, true friend, eh? Good. Oh, Did you travel back together on the same boat to Bombay?
Broad and I were in third class. She would have been in first. Had we been on the same boat, we would have never seen each other. Perhaps you will meet her through Sir Edwin.
More than likely. You know, I will look forward to it, Ajit. Oh, Paji, we must go. Our family is expecting us for dinner, and all are longing for your stories and adventures to London.
Eating fish and chips and humble pies.
Huh?
Here you are, Ajit. I arrived early and have been inside. I hope you have not been arguing with our cousin.
No, debating rather than arguing to know. You know how competitive we can
All
be,
of
eh?
us men are competitive if you ask me. It is we women who do the real work. We let our men think they are running things, but it is us who get our own way. एक बंदे घर चला सकते हैं, ये तो सिर्फ रोप पा सकते हैं, रोप क्यों मिस्टर अजीत?
How was your meeting?
It was good. We are being taken more seriously. I even think Congress party is being seen as a threat, which is good. Anyways, come inside. Family is waiting.
Oh, will there be some roti for Ajit and maybe some whiskey?
Of course, the best for my Punjabi husband and their
Hello?
child.
और रोटियां तो मैं 10-12 खाऊंगा, ना पीऊंगा देसी। चल फटे।
Surely they should be allowed to celebrate, Sylvia.
I suppose so, but I'm not sure exactly what it is they're feeling happy about. There were more crowds than I thought there would be. I felt some of the Indian guests getting quite patriotic. I'm not sure whether that's a good thing or not.
Well, I am happy that it is the final piece in the jigsaw puzzle that is Edwin's grand plan for Delhi. So I suppose there should be a feeling of a new dawn or something like that.
Yes, but doesn't a war memorial look backwards rather than forwards to your new dawn?
In a way, it's an acknowledgement, Sylvia. Recognizing past sacrifices helps people face the future. Those Sikh soldiers gave up a lot for empire.
Oh, you always could see the other side. Not your father's daughter at all. Whew, I wonder what he would have made of all this.
Oh, I don't know. He was a man of his time. He certainly wouldn't have approved of Edwin's designs. Too many Indian references in style. But to be honest, Sylvia, I never really knew him. Despite being his daughter, he was a remote figure in my life.
Probably a good thing being remote from men, especially husbands when they're working. Oh, Edwin, the man of the moment. Congratulations, you must be thrilled.
Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you. My work in New Delhi has taken on greater significance project by project. Not many men have the opportunity to set out the framework for a new capital city. Time will judge how successfully.
Bravo, anyway. I'm sure there are a lot of grateful people. Emily tells me you're working on another war memorial in France.
Yes, in think about Flanders. The one there has 3 arches, 2 smaller ones, supporting a large centre.
I'm sorry, I don't recall being introduced.
Oh, I apologize. My mistake. This is Mr. Ram Singh, my chief engineer. Ram, this is Lady Sylvia Underwood, the wife of the Viceroy's secretary.
Mrs. Underwood?
Mr. Singh. Ah, is it your influence, Mr. Singh? Is that the reason why so many Sikh soldiers are remembered on the All India War Memorial?
I'm so pleased you noticed, Mrs. Underwood. They are remembered for their own individual service and bravery. They needed no advocacy from myself.
I suppose so, but then I always find a little persuasion helps.
You must be very proud of today's achievements, Mr. Singh. These are big projects for Indian civil engineering.
Lady Lutchins, good evening again. Yes, this war memorial is very important for New Delhi, but we have undertaken challenging things in the past. The Golden Temple at Amritsar, for instance.
Ah, yes. The Hamandia Sahib, the House of God, or as some say, The Darbiya Sahib, the exalted court.
Your knowledge of the secret religion flatters me, Lady Duchess. It is indeed a holy place.
Oh, did you learn all that nonsense as a disciple of your guru, Jiddu Krishnamurti, Emily?
Don't tease, Sylvia. It doesn't become you. Jiddu followed no religion, as you well know.
I had the pleasure of reading one of his books once, Lady Duchess. Life and Freedom was the title. He was indeed a free thinker. He had an extraordinary mind.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Or would you regard him as a patriot, Mr. Singh?
A patriot of the mind, maybe, but not a patriot of India. I'm sorry, but we detract from your husband's success. It has been a privilege working under him. And tonight, we have much to be grateful for, much.
Thank you, Ram. I am delighted that my work has met with so much approval after all. But I do think it may be time for us to head indoors and leave the citizens of Delhi to celebrate their new memorial.
Yes, I fear everything's getting a little too festive for me. I must go and find my husband.
Excuse me, Emily. I must also go and speak to the Viceroy's secretary. And Ram, do come and join me later. There are some people I would like to introduce you.
I will, certainly.
And don't stay too long, Emily. You need to join the other ladies inside.
This means rather more than a war memorial to you, Mr. Singh, if I'm not mistaken.
It does, Lady Duchess. It means recognition in my people. It means pride in ourselves. Something perhaps you will understand has been taken away from us until now.
Do understand. We British have been a little heavy-handed in the past.
Ajit Singh is my cousin, Lady Duchess. You've met him in London on many occasions.
Ah, so you know something about my work in support of Home Rule.
Yes, somewhat surprising given the views of your Viceroy father, and perhaps more welcome because of that.
Thank you. Ajit is a good man. How long have you supported Home Rule, Mr. Singh?
My support for Home Rule has been strong ever since the massacre in Amritsar in 1919. Home Rule is but a stepping stone.
To independence.
I couldn't possibly say, Lady Lutyens. Who knows where it might lead?
My husband respects you a great deal, Mr. Singh. He's not always generous with his praise.
I assure you, Lady Lutyens, that our respect is mutual. I greatly admire his architectural skills.
Oh, perhaps we should go in. Maybe it is getting a little festive.
I will stay a moment longer, Lady Lutyens. These celebrations have a personal meaning for me in another way. Your friend, Sylvia Underwood, came closer to the truth than you realize. You see, my father is commemorated on that war memorial. He died fighting for the British in Afghanistan.
I'm sorry. You must be very proud of him, Mr. Singh.
Yes and no. I wish he had died fighting for his own country rather than dying in someone else's war.
Ever the patriot, Mr. Singh.
I always thought you British valued patriotism. That is, unless it clashed with your own, of course.
Oh, Jiddu hated patriotism. He always thought it led to violence. We disagreed slightly in that respect.
It is only suppression that leads to violence, Lady Lutyens. It is a ticking time bomb.
I will take that as a warning, then. Well, it's been a pleasure meeting you. Thank you.
Goodbye, Lady Lutyens. I assure you the pleasure was all mine.
Sat Sri Akal.
Sat Sri Akal.
No, I will. And do not live with much comfort or happiness. My father was not a good ruler, sir, and I feel obliged to make up for some of the wrongs.
The physical distance between us is bad enough, but I cannot help wondering if all your other interests are keeping us apart.
all so personally. You must understand the difficult situation that we are in.
See, bhai, samjhte hain. ये थोड़ी निराशा में साझा कर दें. We understand, brother, and we share your frustration.
Views like yours could make life very difficult for the Indian community here in London. We live peaceful lives, but have to be careful. The committee next door are only trying to protect the families in their care.
You cannot come barging in demanding our help.
You cannot expect us to be part of an assassination plot. What are you thinking? Even telling us about it compromises our position.
Listen to them. They're just angry with themselves. They don't have the courage to take on the oppressor. You don't care about the massacre in Jallianwala Bagh, and you don't care about Sir Michael O'Dwyer. All you care about is making money and living comfortably.
Who the hell do you think you are? You are just scum, nursing your own bitterness. Do you think it has been easy for us, all establishing a community here? Do you think everyone welcomed us with their open arms as we got our first jobs and entered our first homes?
You say this is the third or fourth time you've been to London. Well, it seems you have learned very little about life here.
Yes, true. I didn't think my Indian brothers would be so hostile or so assimilated that they would be afraid of their own shadows.
Still just an ignorant peasant.
Calm down. This will not help. Uttam, we do our best at a political level. The Congress party back home supports us. And you know that Mahatma Gandhi does not advocate violent action of any sort.
Oh, I wondered when you'd bring Gandhiji into the conversation. At least his pacifism is still a form of resistance, and he gets things done. What about you, huh? Oh, Masterji, I didn't mean to offend you. Please, let me kiss your feet. Use me as your lackey, sir.
How dare you? We are not like that, and you know it.
Do not insult us, brother. We are just going to have to agree that we do not accept the path to a solution. We will find a place for you to stay until you get a job again. But if you are going to preach this sort of violent action, please stay away from the Gurdwara. We do not need that there. We understand, brother, but we cannot help. May God be with you.
I made a vow back in Amritsar in 1919 to hunt down and kill O'Dwyer. And I intend to keep it. Maybe I was wrong to try and drag you in. I need to do this on my own. And you would have been no help anyway.
Oh, for God's sake, just go away.
Oh, thank you. Todi Piada.
And don't come back again. Understood? Just go. Get lost.
Kheer Azadi Di. You know, I don't believe in God. But I have a vision that one day my country would be free from British oppressors. Tusi jaande ho, main Rabb vich believe nahi karta. But main janda ha, aur mera desh kolon kolo azad hona chahiye hai. Thank you and Sat Sri Akal. Chacha, Guru Bakshi ji, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings and emotions. I promise to cause you no more problems. But before I leave, can we join together? Just a warm embrace from both of you.
Why these crocodile tears? Why?
After all, you're my Punjabi brothers, and secondly, you have given me shelter in this Gurdwara.
Gurbaksha ji, let us fulfill his final wish. Come here, Uddhav.
If you say so, Yare. Come.
Caxton Hall, Wednesday, 13th March, Sir Michael O'Dwyer speaking.
Hey, Vaheguru, Pali Kari, Pali Kari.
Oh my God!
time as governor of the Punjab from 1913 to 1919. I'm sure this has been of great interest to us all. And Sir Michael's book, India as I Knew It, gives a spellbinding account of a Punjab region preoccupied with threats of terror and political agitation. But despite some misguided complaints about events at Amritsar in April 1919, I think we have seen tonight the need for real leadership at times like these.
There's a gift for you, Sir Michael O'Dwyer. I did for my country, and I am proud. आज जो भी कीता अपने देश लिए कीता ते मैंने मान है. People will wonder why I took on the role of assassin. I did it because I had a grudge against him. Sir Michael O'Dwyer was the real culprit. He tried to crush the spirit of my people. So I crushed him because he deserved it. I have no regrets. For full 21 years, I have been waiting to seek vengeance. And I am happy I've done the job. I'm not afraid of death. I'm dying for my country. I have seen my people starving in India under British rule. And I have protested this, as this was my duty. What greater honor could be bestowed upon me than death for the sake of my motherland?
What's the matter, Edwin?
Have you not read today's newspaper? Sir Michael O'Dwyer was shot dead last night in Caxton Hall by some Sikh assassin.
I have read it, and it is indeed shocking.
With all your political campaigning over half of London, I would suggest you go away for a while and let the fuss die down after this outrage.
I will do no such thing. Can't you see that this was an act by an insane man and has nothing to do with political campaigning?
Well, can't you see that anyone will make a connection between the two?
Oh, they may try, but it's easily disputed. I am not condoning the actions of this Udham Singh, but can't you see that he did this for reasons of revenge and publicity? The events at Amritsar in 1919 were highly questionable, so much so that our own government tried to cover them up. Surely you cannot be surprised when resentment has festered in this way.
I am more surprised that you are seeking excuses for this outrageous act of public murder.
That is how I would regard the massacre at Amritsar, Edwin. The only difference is that Udham Singh will be prosecuted, and Sir Michael O'Dwyer was not.
No, he was assassinated. Can't you see how bad this looks? And you believe in home rule for India. This act of violence in London will set back any activity you feel you may have achieved. I trust these odd opinions continue to stem from your theosophical beliefs, Emily.
Oh, how little we've ever understood of each other. But then I suppose we never have really understood each other. The only conventional thing about our marriage is our wonderful children. At least we can be thankful we have them in common.
The only reason it works, Emily, is because we spend so much time apart.
I have confessed to you before, I have not been the best of wives. I admire your loyalty, even your acceptance of certain things, but I am a free spirit, Edwin, someone whose the spiritual life is paramount.
Jiddu has abandoned you, Emily. Your theosophical guru has gone off to live a comfortable life in California.
He didn't abandon me. Our lives changed paths. Oh, I still respect him. We write. I reread his books. Theosophy teaches pacifism. Jiddu would have abhorred this kind of violence. What has this got to do with a Sikh assassin and a murder in Caxton Hall?
You told me about a conversation you had with Ram Singh in New Delhi at the opening of India Gate. You said he talked of a ticking time bomb, and you took that as a warning of the urgent need for Indian home rule. Is Ram Singh that bomb exploding, Emily?
I don't know. All I know is it is wrong. All violence is wrong. So is suppression.
There we go again, always seeing the other side.
Well, then, perhaps that is why I can see I have failed you as a husband or wife.
Perhaps. But perhaps I have also failed you as a husband.
Excuse me, sir. Madam, there's a journalist at the door from the Times. He says he wants to speak to you.
There, what did I say?
Please, send him away, Sarah. Tell him I am not available.
But madam, he said it was important about what happened at Caxton Hall last night.
Tell him my thoughts are with Lady O'Dwyer and her family, and that as a theosophist, I abhor violence of any kind. You may go now, Sarah. And don't expect an apology from me, Edwin, just because some journalist turns up at our door unannounced.
I won't. You're too stubborn for that.
Well, perhaps that is a surprise to neither of us. Perhaps a trip to Devon would be in order.
That's a splendid idea, Emily. I shall have to stay in London, of course.
Of course. I will write. I promise.
I know you will. I shall be off to the club now. Shall I see you at supper tonight?
No. I have a charity dinner. Tomorrow at breakfast, maybe.
Indeed. I shall look forward to it. And may I suggest, Emily, that you take the same approach to any other journalist as you took to the chap from the Times today?
I will. Edwin, please send Sarah in on your way out.
Of course.
You wanted to see me, madam?
Yes, Sarah. We shall be going to Devon tomorrow to see Frances Drew at Castle Drogo. A week away from London might do us all good, and I can help support her with her charitable work. Edwin will be pleased I'm visiting.
Certainly, madam. Perhaps best in the circumstances.
Yes. I'm afraid it is, Sarah.
Udham Singh, the jury finds you guilty of the murder of Sir Michael O'Dwyer on the 13th of March this year, 1940. Have you anything to say for yourself before sentence is given?
Yes, Judge Saab, I would like to speak in front of the jury. हाँ जब साहब, majority के सामने बोलना चाहता है. I did it because I had a grudge against him. Sir Michael O'Dwyer was the real culprit. He tried to crush the spirit of my people. I saw my people dying on the streets of Jallianwala Bagh. The soldiers, they never stopped firing. So I crushed him because he deserved it. And I have no regrets. I no longer wish to be called Udham Singh. From now on, my name is Ram Muhammad Singh Azad. I am Hindu, Muslim and Sikh, but first and foremost, I am a free Punjabi. I am standing in front of an English jury. I'm in an English court. You people go to India, and when you come back to England, you end up in the House of Commons, or you're given a seat in the House of Lords. We come to England and we're sentenced to death. Machine guns on the streets of India mow down thousands of women and children. Your flag of so-called democracy and Christianity flies in our face. You have done nothing but exploited my people.
Take him down. The court will hear no more of this.
You asked me what I wanted to say. So open your ears, because you are deaf. Listen to this. Gal suno. We Indians were loyal to you, even though we were your slaves. I fired a gunshot when you arrested me. You can't suppress us for generations and expect me not to speak the truth. This is the license and freedom of Mother India telling you, long live revolution, long live revolution. Inqilab Zindabad, Inqilab Zindabad. Down with British imperialism, down with British dirty dogs. British Samraj, Murdabad, British Samraj, Murdabad. Long live free India, free British imperialism.
हिंद वासियों रखना याद सानू किते दिलां चों ना भुला जाना आदर वतन दी लगे हां चढ़न फांसी सानू वेख के ना घबरा जाना साडी मौत ने वतन दे वासियां दे दिली वतन दा इश्क जगा जाना हिंद वासियों चमकना चंद वांगू किते बदला देखना आ जाना वासियों रखना याद सानू किते दिलां चों ना भुला जाना वंदे मातरम इंकलाब जिंदाबाद इंकलाब जिंदाबाद
Oh, hello, Abel.
Ronnie!
Oh, you have your umbrella, I see. So do I. It's that time of the year when we all start carrying them, waiting for the monsoon to break.
Yes, you can feel it in the air. I will be glad when it starts. How are you, Ronnie?
Oh, I'm fine, but run off my feet. Partition worries me. I think we are being played by the British.
Possibly, but we are not helping ourselves. It is a waiting game.
Yes?
We just need to make it through the next couple of months until independence in August.
Yes, it's like farmers waiting for the monsoon.
Have you heard news of your posting to London yet?
No, waiting for that as well. There has to be a balance in the decisions being taken. I really want to go, but I'll miss my husband and all the celebrations back at home. Oh, it feels strange, maybe, having to leave the country just when independence arrives. Do you want to wait for a while? I can spare 5 minutes to talk.
Of course, why not? It would be good to hear how you've been.
How's your job going?
Busy, getting ready for Mountbatten's arrival any day now. We just need to make it look smooth and organized. You know, Rani, there were times when I thought we might lose everything.
The fighting between our own parties, you mean?
No, even before that. Even back 7 years ago when Udham Singh shot Sir Michael O'Dwyer. It nearly pushed the boat right off course.
Yes, I remember. Congress party was not pleased and Gandhiji was very upset.
How did you feel?
I was angry at first. It unraveled a lot of diplomacy. But then I realized we might need to stand back and take a look at the bigger picture. One assassination compared to thousands of other deaths in the fight for freedom. In a strange way, Udham Singh might have done some good, but it worries me that I can admit that.
Did you think it achieved anything?
It's all about struggle, right? And pressure for change. Tell me, Amil, what produces a tipping point? All violence is wrong, but sadly, there are times when violence works. The British taught us that, at least.
You're beginning to sound like a cynic and not a diplomat.
I'm careful what I say to whom. Gandhiji is still my hero.
There you are, Rani. I have been looking for you.
Really? Oh, there it goes. Oh, monsoon can break any other day soon. Where's your umbrella?
Did not have time to find one. I have news for you.
What news? You look excited.
Mrs. Rani Gupta, you are going to London to work for the High Commission. V.K. Krishna Menon confirmed today that you will be new as part of his team. Congratulations.
Oh, that's a lot to take in.
Congratulations, Rani.
Oh, London. Oh, I must go and talk to my husband. There'll be so much work to do. I'm really sorry to interrupt our conversation with this news, Amil. You know Preeti, don't you?
Of course I do. You forget. We worked on the round table conferences together. Months of negotiations on independence.
I was a Women's Congress Party observer. It was the place where all the diplomacy started.
You would like to think so, wouldn't you?
Oh, we know. Others paved the way. So please, let us hold on to our illusions of grandeur.
Will your husband come with you to London?
Oh no, he needs to be here. And that means we put yet more pressure on family life. It just seems to come with the job.
And I hear you're working on the Mountbatten door, Amil.
Yes, ironing out the creases in the last push forward.
There are plenty of creases. The British will not leave easily, nor are we making this easy on ourselves.
I know. Partition is beginning to feel like shooting yourself in the foot.
Oh, that's an understated diplomatic response. I wish it was just a game, but real lives are at stake. Anyway, my dear friends, we all have work to do, especially me. Oh, it's here. Let's get inside, out of the rain.
Can I share your umbrella?
Yes, of course.
Ronnie will be good. I am really pleased for her.
Yes, she has the intelligence and the power to persuade. Somehow I wish she was staying with us. Anyway, let's run, and next time bring your umbrella.
Home, Lady Russians. I was really sorry to hear about the death of your husband. He was a great man.
Oh, thank you for your kind words, Mrs. Gupta. We all miss Sir Edwin very much since his death, but he has left a huge legacy in his architectural work. And of course, I remember your friend, Ajit.
Indeed, you are very helpful to him, and that's partly why I'm here.
Oh, please excuse the mess. My maid Sarah is upstairs packing. Everything is satisfactory with Ajit, I hope. I I wondered why you were here alone.
I'm here in London as a member of the Congress Party. I'm one of several political staff supporting the High Commissioner.
Oh, may I congratulate you. That is indeed something to be proud of, especially at the birth of a new country.
Thank you, but it's not a birth. It's more about regaining a country.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have realized. That was clumsy of me. How can I help you today, Mrs. Gupta? Please, take a seat. What can I do for you?
Forgive me for this untimely interruption, Lady Emily. I had heard rumors that you were soon to depart for New Delhi, and I wanted to speak to you first. I'm here to try to persuade you to stay in London and not travel to Delhi.
Oh, I see. Perhaps a trifle late in the day, as you can see. Why would you want me to remain here?
Well, the celebrations in Delhi will be mainly ceremonial, and political discussion will continue to be on internal matters. In London, we need to establish status and influence. We need to be a strong advocate on behalf of India to Mr. Attlee's government. It would be helpful to have you as one of our supporters. V.K. Krishna Menon will take over as High Commissioner in August, and he will need the support of influential members of the British establishment. Some of your connections will be invaluable to us.
Oh, I see. I am, of course, flattered by your request, but my passage is booked to Bombay. I feel I owe it to my husband, who designed most of the new capital, and to the many friends I have in India.
There is a long waiting list of cabins on ships leaving for Bombay. You would do someone a great favor by releasing one. And if I may suggest, your husband's memory is well served in his buildings, which will take center stage in August.
Oh, possibly. But to be honest, Mrs. Gupta, I was conflicted about travelling again to India, and your request has not helped my resolve. Perhaps there is an informal role I could play. I might be interested, but equally I could do that upon my return in October.
The challenges of partition are an immediate problem. None of the current planning bodes well. Neither the British nor my fellow countrymen seem to have things under control.
Yes, my friend Jiddu would have said that. Sometimes I wish I had listened to him a little more carefully.
Yes, India is a complex place.
Yes, Jiddu would have said that. Oh, Mrs. Gupta, there is a lot to take in. I promise to give your request thoughtful consideration. The timing is difficult. I hope you understand.
Indeed, I do, and I did not realize that my request might cause so much disruption. Oh, here is my card. You can reach me at the High Commission.
Oh, thank you.
I can find my own way out. I really hope we can meet again, and I look forward to working together again, if at all possible.
Oh, thank you. Sat Shri Akal.
Sat Shri Akal.
I can judge from the congregation here today that without doubt this is an historical day for your people as well as we British. As you know, Pandit Nehru becomes Prime Minister of India as a great nation finally grasps the mantle of independence. It gives me the greatest pleasure to read a personal message from His Majesty King George VI. I would like to send my heartiest congratulations and warmest greetings to you all. Pandit Nehru, you are the first Prime Minister of India, and Britain now hands over power to you and your government, making India an independent nation. On behalf of the British people, I would like to see India growing in companionship and equality of spirit. I applaud the bravery and sacrifices by your people to see their own land, their own country, which you richly deserve, and now you have. I also declare that I cease to be Emperor of India on this day. Changes in the Commonwealth mean that our ties are no longer based on common allegiance to the Crown, but upon a recognition of the sovereign as head of the Commonwealth of Nations, where you now stand as an independent member. Signed, George VI, 15th of August, 1947. Jai Hind! Namaste.
Say something. You must say something. Very well done. Very well. What will you say? Two words बोलिए.
Please don't go. Please don't go. Just 1 minute. Thank you. Bye, Mr. Just please, Judge. Get the mic. Please get the mic on, please. I would like thanks to Nehru Center and Indian High Commission. Hopefully you enjoyed the production this evening. Thank you so much. I can imagine your clapping how much enjoy. Of course, our independence certificate will be great. Thanks for the Questors Theatre and Respective Howard. We've done a good job, and thanks for the whole team. I would like to invite on the stage today our chief guest, Mr. Jasper Singh, Sridhar ji, First Active India High Committee. Please come on the stage and say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Tajinder ji. Well, I'm at loss of words. Such a beautiful depiction, of our history, and you have run us through the pages, right, starting from the early 19th century, right till when we achieved our freedom, when we achieved our independence on 15th of August, and in between you also showed us life of the great martyr Sardar Udham Singh. It was a mesmerizing play, and I could not hear even a single voice, and it was actually a salutation to the whole effort. The whole team put in. I must appreciate the whole team. I don't know the name of the members, but they put up a wonderful show, and I think this was probably the most apt performance in the run-up to our 75th year of independence, the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav that the government of India is celebrating. And thank you to Mr. Amish Tripathi for taking this initiative, for hosting this wonderful play at the Nehru Center. And I, on behalf of High Commission of India, am honored to have witnessed such a wonderful performance. And I request you all to participate in the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav programs that High Commission of India is organizing throughout the year for celebrating our 75 years of independence and 75 years of friendship, India-UK friendship. I hope to see you more often at the events that we host. And sir, I would request that such kind of plays and such kind of efforts should be encouraged, and we should give this stage more to such kind of people, and we should engage with them more. And I also request Mr. Tajinder Singh to continue this effort, and we at High Commission of India will offer you any kind of support that you need, and we should take this partnership forward. Thank you so much. I now hand over to Amish Tripathi, who has kindly hosted this event. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir. And if you could get the staff to also just stand up just before you guys leave, if you guys can just hold up your flag. And the wonderful performers, if you could have them here as well. Oh, they're downstairs already. Okay. Bharat Mata ki jai.
Vande Mataram.
Vande Mataram.
So pleased.
Thank you.
Thank you so much again, Mansi. We will see you soon. And this is our third production here, Level before 3 years ago. We done Guru Gobind Singh here before the Salute Punjab Day. And looking forward to see you again. Thank you so much. On behalf of the Questors Theatre and Punjabi Theatre Academy. Thank you so much.